What's up? The name's Xehther and I'm gonna be reading to you guys today A Whole New World. Basically gonna be a story about what would happen if Garou was in the world of MHA. This is written by Thundersneck and you can find his link for Wattpad down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. He's the legendary author that made this and it's honestly such a good read. I would recommend you guys to read it along with me if you want, but if not, here's the audio version. If you enjoy, you know what to do. Help the video do a ton better and consider subscribing, seeing as your boy is trying to hit 100K by the end of the year. That said, enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
This story is created by Thundersneck. You can find his link down below in the description. He's a Wattpad creator, and he's the one who created the story, A Whole New World, Garou x MHA. Now, this story starts off in the final battle against the Monster Association battle, right? And what would pretty much end up happening is Garou would have just been defeated. Garou would look to Saitama as he would tell him, "Bloody, just kill me. I did wrong, I don't deserve to live. I wanted to change the world. The popular have always been loved and the weak are always hated. I just wanted to change this way of thinking." Silver Fang comes in and says, "I understand what you did was for the greater good. I'm sorry, Garou. I wish there was something I could have done for you." With Garou saying, "Don't beat yourself up about it, old man." And Saitama coming in and being like, "Oi, oi, oi, I can't kill you. I have no reason to. You decided what you want to do with your life, and for your info, I don't kill humans, I kill monsters. You don't look like one, so why must I kill you?" With Garou's point of view changing and being like, "Is this guy serious?" From here, a mime mask would come in and say, "Well, I suppose I may need to get my hands dirty." With Tario saying, "No, stop, Mister didn't do anything wrong, don't kill him." A mime mask saying, "Kid, this man has killed hundreds of innocents. He shouldn't live anymore." With Taro saying, "No," trying to hold a mime mask back and screaming out, "Mister, run away!" Suddenly, a random portal would open, with Garou thinking that this is his chance. Jumping into the portal, with every single S-Class hero screaming out, "No!" As from here, we go back to the perspective of Garou, who would be thinking to himself where he's gonna land. Thinking to himself that whatever it is, he needs to heal his ways, that Saitama's dumb, but he was right. It's time that he changes his ways. He'll change and live a peaceful life, he would think. Suddenly, the portal would open and Garou would crash land onto a bunch of empty trash bags in a garbage can, right? And from here, Garou would think, "You gotta be kidding me. Trash bags? Like last time?" As a small girl looks to him would say, hello?" Garou looking at her, he would see a small girl with a poor dress, asking, "Kid, who are you?" With the girl saying, "My name's Eri." And Garou saying, "Alright, Eri, what are you doing here? You lost?" Suddenly hearing a loud bang, with Garou saying, "Kid, get behind me." With Eri screaming out, "Mr. Deku!" And Garou saying, "Who's this Deku?" With Eri looking at him and saying, My savior, he's fighting that evil man." With Garou looking out and seeing a kid trying to fight a man with a... Wait, hold on. Is that a bird mask? Well, alright then. His name's Birdman now. As from here, Garou would look to the kid and say, "What's that brat doing? He's gonna die." Eri saying that Birdman hurt him and he's trying to save me. Garou saying, "What?" As Eri looks to him and says the old story of everything, with Garou being disgusted that somebody could do that to a child of all things. Like, he's a villain, but he's not a monster. As from here, in Garou's point of view, he would simply just be thinking to himself, "Poor kid." As he would stop and think, "What am I doing? Am I going soft? I guess I'll help this kid out. Maybe then these brats might be able to help me get a job or something." As from here, Garou would look to Eri and say, "Wait here." Back with Izuku and a rip-off Plague Doctor, Overhaul would scream at Izuku, "You're done for, Izuku! I must admit that your 100% was amazing, but not enough. Now you die! Give Eri and this will be over." By the way, Night Eye does not end up dying in this one, with Izuku screaming out, never. And from here, Overhaul would then let out, then perish, as Garou would come in out of nowhere, lunging in the air as he would say, flowing water, stream, rock smashing fist. And Overhaul would simply let out a what the before he would get hit with a barrage of multiple punches, with Garou saying that he deserves all of this pain for hurting that kid in a demonic-like voice, as he would proceed to brutally smash and puncture Overhaul's muscles and beat the ever-living life out of his face, as Garou rips out one of Overhaul's eyes in the process, and Overhaul would scream out in pain, asking him for no more. Garou finally landing with Overhaul as he would let out a pathetic weakling, and Eri running to Garou, who would hug him. Eri in tears would from here go on to thank Garou, as Garou would say that he's just 19, with Eri saying, "Oh, sorry." Garou saying, "It's fine. You kid, you okay?" to Izuku, as Izuku would look at Garou and say, "Yeah, but holy, was that much carnage necessary?" With Garou saying, "Yeah, that man deserved it for putting this child through pain." Eri thanking him and asking for his name, with Garou saying that his name's Garou. Izuku then looking unto him and saying, "So, mister, thanks so much for what you did today. You did a great job for taking out the leader of the Yakuza gang." As Garou would say, "No biggie. Wait a minute, kid. Let me just say something. This may sound crazy, but I'm not from this world. I'm from another dimension." With Izuku looking shocked, with Izuku then saying, "Well, I believe you. You don't seem like the kind of guy who jokes around, and I can see it in your eyes that you're telling the truth. Can you tell me your story?" Garou going on to explain the whole story about why he became a villain and how he wanted to change the world because of his past. How his mother only supported him, and how his father killed her and he killed his own father. He didn't mention his monster forms, by the way. Izuku from here would let out a stream of tears as he goes on to profusely apologize for the life that Garou lived, with him then saying it makes sense that you're trying to mend your ways, and Eri saying it doesn't matter to her if you're a villain, but because he's her hero, as she would give Garou the cutest smile, with Garou almost oohed. Like Garou seeing Eri smile would finally drop the whole villain persona, as from here Izuku would go on to say, "Well, let me explain things about our world," going on to explain how he was the late bloomer, not telling Garou about the truth of One for All and what UA was all about, and about quirks and All for One as well of the League of Villains, with Garou sighing and saying, "Looks like this world's gonna be a long journey." And from here, what would end up happening is All Might would arrive on the scene. Chapter 2, UA and a Job. All Might would arrive and say, "I am here," with Izuku letting out, "All Might," and Eri being completely terrified of All Might hiding behind Garou, with Garou looking towards All Might and saying, "Musclehead, stop shouting. Can't you see you're scaring the kid?" With All Might seeing Eri and profusely apologizing for everything, saying that his name's All Might and he's with Eri saying, "The #1 hero." All Might saying, "Haha, yes," with Garou telling him to stop shouting. All Might then apologizing for that, and Garou going on to look at him and say, "Alright now, you're the #1 hero, right? Well then I'm gonna be straight with you. I want a job at UA. This kid Izuku told me about it. I took the Yakuza leader out, and if you guys want more confirmation if I'm strong or not, bring out your top 5 heroes and I'll beat them up. If I win, I get the job, as well as a house with all the living facilities, and if I lose, I'll leave. Deal?" With All Might saying, "Cocky, aren't ya? But I accept. And again, thank you for bringing Overhaul to just," as he would look over towards Overhaul's body and be like, "Oh my god, what did you do?" With Garou letting out a, "That asshat deserved it for experimenting on a kid." All Might then sighing and saying, "I suppose nothing can be done about it. I'll inform Nezu and I'll set up the battleground. And unfortunately, I can't battle as I need to complete another mission about the League of Villains planning an attack on the center of Mustafu. So the other top 5 heroes will battle you. Fine?" As from here, Garou would let out, "Sure, I accept." And All Might then telling Garou to return tomorrow at 10 a.m. With the next day quickly approaching, and Endeavor's point of view being the one that we jump into. "Where's that man? Did he quit or something?" With Mirko saying, "Stop being mean, Endeavor. He took out Overhaul all by himself. He'll come." Hawks letting out, "I hope this wasn't a waste of time." And Aizawa asking where Principal Nezu is. As Mount Lady would say, "Is that?" and Nezu saying, "Ah, don't worry, there he is," with Garou entering the battleground and Endeavor letting out a quick, "Finally you're here, why you so late, were you scared or something? Pathetic." Garou from here would say, "Alright then, how about you put your fist where your mouth is?" As from here, and an angry Endeavor would let out, "Prominence burn!" As the smoke would clear, Garou would not be there, with Endeavor saying, "Heh, coward." Suddenly, Garou would appear from thin air, with Garou saying, "Flowing water, stream rock smashing fist." Also, sorry if you guys do hear my dog barking in the background, but there's like some people walking by, and you know how dogs get. Anyways though, after Garou would let out this huge attack on Endeavor, 90% of his bones would be crushed and broken, arms and legs included, Endeavor being completely KO'd, and Mirko letting out a quick, "Holy shit," with Aizawa saying, "This is getting interesting." As from here, Hawks would let out, "Ooh," and then Garou would attack the rest of the heroes like he would have done when he was facing off against the 8 heroes when he was trying to protect the kid from the Gatling gun kid and all that stuff. The battle would pretty much be just like that, with ultimately it ending with all of the heroes getting knocked out and Aizawa letting out a "Ow," with Mount Lady saying, "My gigantification didn't even work on him. It's almost like that wasn't even his true quirk." As from here, Garou would say, "That's because I don't have one. That was pure martial arts," with everyone being completely shocked, like, "What?" With Nezu letting out, "Oh, Mr. Garou, you are now a teacher at UA. You will teach both 1A and 1B martial arts, as well as receive your own house with all facilities," with Garou letting out, "Hey, principal, I thank you for all that, but where's the kid?" With Nezu saying that she's living at UA dorms, but why does he want to know? And Garou saying that he wants to adopt her. Nezu then being like, "This is good. She has been talking about you often. How cool you are, so I'll allow it." As from here, Garou would thank Nezu, and Nezu would go over to hand Garou a bunch of adoption papers, with Garou signing them and preparing a room for him and Eri as well. Following this, Aizawa would tell Garou that I'll be taking him there, and from here at the dorms, Mina would be like, "Yeah, you're so cute, Eri," as Eri would be thanking everybody, and pretty much what goes on is everyone is just like all over Eri, right? Until suddenly, they feel a huge amount of bloodlust, with Garou saying not to cuss in front of the child, as Bakugo was just about to let out some cuss words, and Bakugo looking at Garou being like, "Fine," and Garou saying, "Oi, Eri," as Eri would say, "Mr. Garou," squealing happily as she would run towards him and hug him, with her asking him, "How are you?" and Garou saying that he actually ended up adopting her, that now she's his kid, and that he's going to be there to take care of her, and he's going to take her home to pack and get all of the rest of the stuff, telling the class that his name is Garou and he's their new martial arts teacher, and if anybody hurts this angel, they'll die. As from here, the entirety of Class 1A would let out a quick, "Yes, sir!" And from here, Izuku would look towards the direction of Garou as he would ask him how he's been. Garou saying, "Oh, I was fine, and as for the heroes, I beat them all," with Izuku being like, "That's awesome," and Mina asking what he's talking about. Izuku saying, "Oh right, he beat the 5 top heroes of the world, Aizawa, Mirko, Mount Lady, Endeavor, and Hawks all together," with everyone being like, "What?" and Momo being like, "How?" with Garou being like, "Just to clarify that, I beat them all even though I'm quirkless, and I did it using pure martial arts," with everyone looking at him, jaw gaped, as Garou would say, "Well, Gaki, let's leave." As from here, at their new home, Garou would ask Eri how it is, as we would have a little bit of a time skip to nighttime, when Eri, in the middle of the night, would be like, "Daddy?" And Garou would say, "What you call me, kid?" With Eri saying, "Dad, do you not like me?" With Garou saying, "It's fine, Eri, what do you need?" Eri saying, "I couldn't sleep, that could she maybe sleep next to him?" Garou saying, "I can't believe I'm becoming so soft. Come here, Snowball." And from here, Eri would say, "Thanks." Garou then looking at the direction of Eri, thinking, "This ain't half bad, me and my daughter." Garou chuckling himself to sleep. Next chapter, the first class. I ain't gonna lie, y'all, this is a pretty good fanfic so far. But anyways, What pretty much ends up happening is that by the morning, Garou had already woken up quietly, not to wake up Eri obviously, and he would have ended up making breakfast, yelling at her to wake up, as suddenly the doorbell rings, right? And from here, we would end up getting a scene in which, what's it called? Garou would be like, who's here? As from here, he would think to himself that they better have a good reason to be here. Garou opening the door only to see Mirko and her telling him, hey Garou, found you live in my neighborhood, so I decided to come and visit. With Garou saying, that's it? Huh, annoying. Mirko saying, hey, don't be mean. And Eri coming to the front door asking who this is, with Mirko saying, who's this cutie? With Garou saying, my daughter, got a problem? And Mirko would say, not at all. As from here, Eri would be like, Dad, I finished brushing, can you give me a bath? With Garou's eyes widening at this. Garou didn't know how to give a child a proper bath. He was just starting being a dad. How could it be so difficult? His mind was screaming at him at this point, with Mirko noticing that he doesn't know how to do that and asking, does he? Garou saying, yeah, you're right, I don't. She would giggle and say, come on, I'll help you out, sweetie. As Eri would say, can I trust her? And Garou saying, that's your aunt, trust her. As from here, Eri would go, and from here she would pretty much just get a bath, right? As after this, Garou would end up calling kindergarten teachers, and they allow her admission into a new school, in which Mirko drops her off, and from here, she would be taken to the school, in which we would switch our perspective to Garou being in Principal Nezu's office, asking Garou for his brand new schedule, with Nezu saying, Mr. Garou, we haven't fixed your schedule today, so you can teach the students for the whole day if that's alright. Garou being like, alright then. As Nezu was announced to both Class 1A and 1B to go to the training grounds behind the school for Garou's convenience. Izuku wondering why Nezu would call them there, as Kaminari would say, yeah, I wondered the same thing, and everybody else pretty much just, having their normal interactions, Monoma being annoying and all that stuff, right? But ultimately, what would end up happening is Shota would come in and say, okay, Monoma, this is getting out of hand. Midoriya tried his best at the very least to make a connection. Be quiet. With Kendo saying, stop it, Monoma, and Monoma saying, Ziff. As from here, Garou would say, she's right. Instead of sitting around provoking them to prove you're better than them, do something that proves you're better than them. Actions speak louder than words. My name's Garou, and I'm your new martial arts teacher. As from here, Class 1A and B would let out a quick, good morning, sensei, as Garou would look at their direction and say, now, what I'm going to be teaching is the flowing water stream rock smashing fist style. I know it's a style that is both offense and defense combined together, but looking at you guys, your bodies are not fit for this. Most of you are slim, except for that orange hair, broccoli boy, red hair, scar face, and Pomeranian. The last one made everyone laugh, with Bakugo saying, oi, just because you're my teacher doesn't mean I will sit. As Garou would say, shut the F up, Pomeranian, releasing a bit of killer intent. And Bakugo never actually being around somebody who could release that much killer intent would be terrified. It would be just like when Stain was able to cause Endeavor to be scared stiff. And Garou from here would say, alright now, give me 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups, and a 5-kilometer run now, or else. Releasing Bloodlust, as the entirety of Class 1A and 1B would just let out, yes sir, all being scared, as after 4 hours, everyone would have finally completed their task. Class 1A and 1B being completely exhausted at this, with sweat dripping, and many on the verge of literal death. Garou from here saying, pathetic, this isn't even half of what my master used to teach me. I had to swim for 2 hours straight and even hold my breath under the water for an hour or so. I had to blade traps set under by my master while running around the forest. If you want that, I can set it up for you guys. With Class 1A and 1B in complete conjunction being like, no please, no sir, please don't do this. And Garou being like, fine. Your training will continue like this for a week or so, until your body can handle the shock absorption sent while using this fighting style. Class dismissed. 1A and 1B would head back to their room, with Mina crying out, "That was hell!" and Uraraka saying, "I know, I can't even feel my hands." Pretty much the entire class would just be complaining for a bit, and what would end up happening is that Aizawa would end up ultimately, in another perspective, saying that Muscular has been attacking the city and is holding a bus of children hostage. Everyone being like, "What?" And Mina Sensei saying that they should save them. Aizawa letting out a very quick, "I know," as Kirishima would turn on the news and would see Muscular holding the kids hostage in a bus, with the blue-haired girl would be crying and asking for help, with Izuku being like, "Eri?" And Garou would rush out of the room to the city where Muscular is. "Muscular, let me go, heroes, or else these kids will die," with Eri saying, "You big bully, my daddy will come and beat you up." Muscular grabbing Eri by her throat. "Is that so? Well, that can't happen after I snack your neck," with Garou lunging in so fast and yelling out, "Flowing water, stream rock smashing fist," and ultimately being like, "The fuck do you think you're doing to my kid? You're dead!" Going on to hit him with so many attacks that Muscular would be completely caught off guard. Muscular attacking Garou, but Garou would just sidestep, letting Muscular fall, as he would get back up and he would punch Garou over and over and over again. In the scene when he defeated Tank Top Master, right? It would be just like that. And what would pretty much end up happening is that Muscular would end up literally begging for help from the people around, with All Might arriving and being like, "I am here? Garou, what are you doing? Don't kill him. He has critical info we might need." With Garou saying that the muscle head is gonna tell him what the League of Villains plan to do next. Muscular then saying, "I can't tell you. If I do, they'll kill me." With Garou saying, there was a technique called peeling, where you take a sharp object and peel someone's skin in such a way that their veins are exposed. Blow air or touch on the exposed skin repeatedly, and the pain is 100 times worse than a bolt of lightning striking you. You either tell us or I do that. Muscular then being completely horrified and being like, I'll tell you anything, just please don't do that or kill me. Completely losing his personality of big bad and killer and all that. Like, bro literally turned into a grade A B word. As from here, Garou would be like, "Looks like you did see my way." As from here, Muscular would start to tell him everything, talking about how the League of Villains plans to kidnap some girl named Melissa Shield so as to comply David to work with them, to let him go crying, with Garou saying, "How about no?" Snapping Muscular's neck, as Garou would say, "Alright, now we know what their next plan is, so I'ma leave," with All Might saying, "Wait, Garou, I need your help to see if Melissa..." No, my bad. He would say, "Wait, I need your help. Melissa's my nephew. And since you are so incredible at fighting, would you like to come with me to America? The pro, as well as Class 1A and 1B are going to be there for a field trip. I'll inform the pros to keep the kids safe while me and you at the top pro heroes tackle the plans of the League of Villains." Garou being just like, "Fine, but Eri will come. I can't let her stay alone here." With him saying that won't be necessary. Garou turning around to see something shocking, with Garou being like, "Master Bang?" Turning around, Bang would look at Garou and say, "Hello, Garou." As All Might would ask, Garou, "Who's that?" With him saying, "It's my master, the one who taught me martial arts, the flowing water stream rock smashing fist." With All Might saying, "I see. Well, Mr. Bang, why are you here?" Bang saying that he's heard his pupil's mission and him taking Eri in, and he thought, why not take care of Eri for him? With Garou saying, "All Might, I want to talk privately with my sensei. Please leave." All Might saying, "Of course, Garou," as All Might would leave, and from here, Garou would be like, "Alright, old man, how are you here?" With Bang saying that he was cleaning the dojo and went out for a walk when suddenly he tripped, and as he was about to balance himself, a portal appeared sending him there. How he learned about him and a rabbit, how he learned about you from a rabbit-eared lady, and that he's glad that he's mended his ways and he's happy now. Garou saying, "Yeah," looking at Eri peacefully sleeping, as Bang would let out a quick, "She's adorable." Garou being like, "Wake up, snowflake," as Eri would wake up, and from here she would ask, "Who's that?" With him saying, "It's your grandpa," and Eri be like, "I have a grandpa?" And Garou saying, "Gaki, stop shouting." Eri then being like, "Sorry," and Garou would say, "It's fine. Old man, you'll be able to handle it, right? With Bang saying, don't worry. I'll take care of it, Garou. Go protect that girl. With Garou saying, okay, thanks. As here, we time skip to the next day at the airport with Aizawa and Vlad King, as everyone would be, asking if everyone's present, and Class 1A and 1B would just be like, yes, sir. Garou from here thinking, it's gonna be a long trip, huh? And All Might would look to him as he would, just nod his head. From here, we were going to be having a little bit of a time skip to the island where David would see All Might and they would end up having a little bit of a brill moment. From here, All Might would look to David as he would say, how's it been, my friend? My friend. And David would say, it's been great, but why are you here with all of these UA students? And Aizawa would say it's a field trip, that they thought they could show him their incredible support items they made so they might be able to enhance their quirks a bit more. David would say that's fine and all of the support items will be readied in 2 days. As from here, Class 1A and 1B would thank David Shield for everything, and David would say it's fine kiddos, staying at a hotel? With All Might saying yes my friend, but did Melissa ready young Midoriya's new item? Those gauntlets? David saying yes, they're ready. With All Might then looking at the direction of Aizawa and saying he'll be back with young Izuku later, guiding the other students back to the hotel room and letting the rest of them rest. Aizawa from here would end up just saying that they'll take care of everything else, and from here All Might would say, go ahead and follow us, young Midoriya, with David being like, who's that? Pointing to Garou, and All Might saying, that's Garou. My name's Garou. I'm quirkless and a martial artist who teaches martial arts to 1A and 1B. David saying, well, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Garou. Well then, let's go, All Might. With All Might being like, right. From here, Izuku would be like, alright guys, I'll be back soon. As from here, the three of them would leave. And at the hotel, Garou would end up asking the caterpillar kid if all of them have been settled in. With Aizawa being like, don't call me that. And from here, he would say, yeah, they've settled in. With Garou saying, did All Might inform you? Yes, Aizawa would say. As from here, Garou would be like, alright then, lead me to David's office or lab or whatever. As from here, they make their way there, and suddenly, Gran Torino would end up arriving. No need, I'll lead you there. As from here, he would tell Aizawa he can step aside. With Garou saying, holy clam, it's an old man. As from here, Gran Torino would say, sorry. Going on to be like, should we go? And from here, we would skip over towards David Shield's lab, where we would switch over to Garou's point of view, and he would just be looking at the lab, thinking that it looks fascinating as he bumps into a girl, and he would say, kid, watch where you're, as he would see a girl being like, my bad, sorry. And Garou asking, what's your name? Her saying, Melissa Shield. As Garou would say, that's the girl. And from here, Melissa would say, what? As Garou would say, don't worry about it. And from here, Melissa would say, who are you? And Garou would just let out, name's Garou. As from here, Melissa would be like, oh, you're the person Izuku was talking about. It's nice to meet you. With Garou being like, why is my heart racing? Jeez, I'm not supposed to be lovey-dovey on her. I should be protecting her. Damn it. Get yourself together, Garou. Nice to meet you as well. Melissa from here would say, well, I must be leaving. As well, I got a lot of work to do. See you around sometime. Garou being like, alright, let's go to his office. And from here, we would switch our point of view to David's office. As suddenly, we would see Izuku asking Garou where the files are on Melissa's shield, the ones that she should have given him. Garou being like, what files? And David saying the files that contained information regarding the data needed to complete the base on Japan, so more heroes can get access to our support items. Garou saying that he just saw her and he saw Melissa go outside, with Garou realizing what was happening. Oh no, she's in trouble. With David saying, wait Mr. Garou, what do you mean? But he was already gone. Garou, where is she? Suddenly, Garou would see a black-haired man with a pretty buff black suited man carrying around an unconscious Melissa down the lane. When bystanders asked what happened, the black man said, "Oh, she fell unconscious, so we're taking her to the hospital." With that, they put her into the car and drove off. Garou booked the taxi and then followed them till they reached the helicopter landing pad. Garou from here would pay the taxi driver his money and would follow the shady man. And that's when he saw him go into an abandoned shed, and he decided to peek and saw Melissa awake, understandably terrified, with the man putting his hand on his face, talking to her and threatening her, while a yellow-haired girl with 2 buns was asking to the man, "Shigaraki, can I have her blood, please?" As, from here, the man known as Shigaraki said, "Not now, Toga. Oi, Dabi, shut her mouth." And the black-haired man would keep Toga in check by passing her a bottle of blood. Dabi asking what they should do with the girl, as Shigaraki would say, maybe torture her, then maybe she'll comply, smiling. As evilly, Toga would say, "You're free to do your thing." And Garou scanning the entire room, where there were at least 90 villains with all of their own strange quirks there. Garou wasting no time in action, as the first villain would say, "Oi boss, can we have some fun with her?" Smiling in a lustful tone, making Melissa cry, with the second villain saying, "Oh yeah, baby," and Shigaraki saying, "Let Toga get her blood first, then you can do whatever you want." As Melissa would scream out, "Please no," and suddenly the doors would break as Garou would jump in and say, "Flowing water, stream rock smashing fist." And from here, he would go on to beat the first 2 villains very easily, while Shigaraki, Toga, Dabi, and the rest of the villains were surprised, with the third villain being like, "Who is this guy?" and Garou saying, "The name's Garou," with Dabi being like, "Ain't you the guy who killed Muscular?" and Shigaraki saying, "No matter, Dabi, attack." From here, this is when Garou would brutally beat all of the villains incoming on him, breaking their back, hands, and legs all together, making them scream in agony, while Toga, Dabi, and Shigaraki were losing their minds. How was this man able to beat them all in one go? Garou would then say, "Any more left?" as Shigaraki would say, "Nomu, attack!" The black-suited man Garou thought he saw was in fact the bird monster, who started pummeling Garou, with Garou slowly losing consciousness and Shigaraki saying, "That thing was made to be All Might. You don't stand a chance, fool. Now you'll perish." From here, Toga would say, "Can I kill him before the Nomu does? I want his blood," laughing like a psycho. Garou from here saying, "Don't underestimate me," as Garou would activate his monsterized form, and from here, the Nomu would strike at Garou, but Garou would block the punch so easily and would retaliate back with his fighting style, destroying the Nomu in one blow. The Nomu letting out a violent roar as Garou would say, "Take this, ugly beast," punching the monster so hard he would leave a hole as it would start regenerating, and Shigaraki would say, "Fool, the Nomu has multiple quirks. You can't beat it." And from here, Garou would think to himself, "I see," as he would rapidly strike the Nomu until the Nomu would be flattened with its ribs, muscles, and face entirely disfigured. In the horrible fashion, the Nomu would let out a guttering sound, as from here, we would see Garou saying, "Enough," ripping its brain out, as Dabi would shoot fire at Garou, who would proceed to grab at Dabi's face and smack him on the ground and drag his face, as he would then attack Toga and break both of her legs. From here, he would get touched by Shigaraki with all 5 fingers, but his monster form rapidly forms his cells, outlasting Shigaraki's decay quirk easily, as Shigaraki would be surprised, but it would be court shut when Garou breaks his hand and punches his face. As from here, Garou would say, "Well, that's dealt with. Come on, Melissa, I'll drop you back, hey?" As Melissa would be like, "Thanks so much," crying out complete tears of joy, as she would say she thought she was gonna die, while hugging Garou. From here, Garou would say, "You can let me go now. I'll drop you off." And suddenly, we would be right back at David's base, where what we would actually end up seeing is a scene in which, David would look to Melissa and say, "I thought I lost you." With Melissa and David having a very, very heartwarming moment, and ultimately Garou being taken away by Melissa, who would say, "Let's go get you healed. Plus, I want to hang out with you. Let's go." With All Might saying, "Young love." With David saying that he approves of Garou as a partner. And from here, we'd skip over towards what ends up happening after that, with Garou and Melissa hanging out after Garou would be fully healed, and Melissa giving Garou a full tour of the island, even going out to go get some ice cream. Garou from here normally hated trips like this, but with Melissa, he didn't feel bored, nor did he even hate the trip. He couldn't explain why. It's almost as if he was finally free from his past. Garou even told Melissa the truth about him and his past, to which she said that she doesn't care what his past is, who he was or who he were. That to her, he'll always be the person who's truly kind, the person who saved her life. He's her hero. A word Garou despised due to his past, how his father was a supposed hero and was also the cause of the death of his mother, but yet he couldn't bring himself to hate the word after Melissa said it. Everything looked bright for Garou, but fate is twisted, isn't it? Soon enough, Garou would have to confront his past when a person comes through that same portal to ruin Garou. How will he confront his past? Well, we'll see. After Melissa's and Garou's tour, Melissa would be asking Garou if it was fun, as she would say that she can't believe he accepted. Garou saying that he can't believe that she accepted his past and that she's not even judging him for being a villain or something. With ultimately, what happens is that Melissa would sigh and would say, "Look at me, Garou. Does it look like I would judge someone for their past? You are you. Your past doesn't matter anymore. Sure, you were bad. So what? You changed. You saved Eri-chan from that evil man Overhaul. You saved me. That's more than enough proof that you changed your ways. Plus, you're really handsome." And as Melissa would realize what she just said and would be like, "I'm so sorry. I gotta go," leaving instantly, while Garou would smirk and kind of have a slight blush on his face. Garou saying, "Yeah, see you around," smiling and heading back to the hotel. When suddenly, people would say, "That man is a villain?" Izuku saying, "Are you sure? Because you don't seem to act like a villain than him." And Bakugo would say, "Oi, so what proof did you have, you extra?" With Kirishima being like, "Bakugo's right. What proof do you have? Bring that man and ask him. He'll..." Noticing Garou coming, "There he is, that monster scum. Hello, Garou." As Garou would say, "A my mask." And a my mask would say, "Yeah. Now kids, ask him about his past and all the crimes that he's done. He deserves death." Momo asking her sensei whatever, like what if what he's telling is true, and Amani Mask would say, no matter what he'll tell, his past was horrible. He hunted heroes, and so many heroes were crippled, and some were even killed by Garou himself, that they couldn't be heroes anymore. PSI, Nezu was there as well, including the entire UA staff. Garou would be completely silent, and Nezu would ask if that was true, with Garou saying, "It is," and Nezu saying, "I'm sorry. You showed potential, but your past crimes can't be ignored. It seems we must send you to jail and give Eri to someone else to take care of. Someone like you mustn't be near a child like her." With Mirko saying, "Are you kidding me, you rat? This is the person who effing saved Eri and even kept her safe from Muscular. He even thwarted the plans of the League of Villains kidnapping that blonde girl, and he did it all alone. He's more of a hero than all of us." With Izuku saying that he knew his past. With everyone looking at Midoriya and him saying that he shouldn't be punished, that he did it because of his horrible past. His father killed his mother, and his father was a hero. He used to verbally abuse him as well. Don't take a father away from Eri, please, Mr. Nezu. With Amani Mask being like, "Quiet, kid. He's entirely too dangerous and must not live." Attacking Garou and would be about to punch him. Suddenly, Melissa would step in and take the punch as she would fall to the ground bleeding. With Garou saying, "Melissa, you hurt her. Die, you plastic boy." As Garou attacks a My Mask, but a My Mask was far stronger and had more durability and overpowers Garou. A My Mask from here would say, "Now goodbye, hero hunter," as Eri would scream, "Daddy!" And from here, Eri would latch onto a My Mask's leg, preventing him from attacking, as a My Mask would yank Eri off of his leg and throw her to the ground, where she would start crying, with Bang telling Mask what he's doing, and a My Mask saying, "Bang, you should have tried to kill him, or did you go soft because he's your disciple?" With Bang saying, "Quiet, you fool. He's mended his ways and deserves to live now, so leave." With a My Mask saying, As if I would let a criminal like him get away. I'm never gonna stop hunting you down. You die now. With Eri saying, leave him alone. And from here, All Might would come in as he would be shocked to see Garou. All Might asking what's happening, and Nezu explaining, so what? This man is the one who thwarted the plans of the League of Villains. Despite who he was and what he did, he's mended his ways. We can put him in the villain rehab program, come on. With Nezu saying it is true, but that of my mask is not agreeing. With Garou saying, so what? In a demonic voice. He's not someone who rules this world. He's just a dust compared to my feet. Yanking my mask away. You little maggot. I'll show you why you should never mess with me. The hunt has begun. And from here, Garou's body would undergo a huge transformation, growing horns as he would transform into his Garou final monster form, latching onto a my mask with his martial arts style, destroying him in a fight, as it would be a brutal one, and it would be almost as if a mouse had awakened a sleeping lion. A my mask being half dead would be on the ground, not saying a word, with Garou letting off, and Melissa saying, Garou? Garou from here would say he's sorry, but he got angry at whatever he said and would revert back to his normal stage. Melissa would say, don't be. I understand. What he did was unacceptable. And Eri saying, Dad, crying so loud as she would be like, I thought you left me. As Garou would say, sorry, Snowball. And I'm sorry to everyone else. Looks like you guys won't be accepting me anymore. From here, Mina being the first one to speak would say, it's okay, Sensei. It doesn't matter who you were. You're still our Sensei, no matter what. With Class 1A being like, heck yeah. And Garou would say, this flattery is not going to reduce the difficulty of your training, you know? And Class 1A would be like, oh man. As from here, Garou would look towards the principal, as he would say, take that pretty boy to the hospital before he dies. Nezu saying, right away. And from here, it would seem like Garou would finally be accepted. He was finally going to get his happy ending. But there's a couple more adversaries he has to fight, and a couple more foes that he has to protect his daughter from, and, go through a couple more different things. This is now, finally, Chapter 6, Wolfram and Love. From here, it's been a few days since the incident with a my mask, and Garou has been doing great, and so has every student. It was the last day, and David Shield had organized a party as remembrance for their visit. Garou was going to the party with his daughter Eri, with his tuxedo along with Bang and Pretty Boy aka Amai Mask, who also insisted on joining this party, which Garou agreed to, but barely glaring at Amai Mask the whole way while going with a killer intent. They had arrived at the party, and he was greeted by his students. Class 1A and 1B would let out a, hello sensei, as Amai Mask would say, I still can't understand how these students can call you your sensei. As from here, Garou would say, want me to break your whole body again? With bloodlust. And Amai Mask being like, just forget I said anything. Melissa coming in the picture and being like, Garou! As Garou would see Melissa coming in with her dress, to which Garou would actually be mesmerized. She looked beautiful. Amai Mask from here would say, Miss Melissa, you look stunning, I must say. Suddenly, Amai Mask gets neck chopped by Bang as he would fall down into unconsciousness, with Bang saying, he's quite bothersome, and Garou agreeing rapidly. Suddenly, they would hear a huge explosion outside, seeing a mass of metal about to strike them, with Bang saying, you gotta be kidding me. The hero life never does escape you, letting out a sigh as Bang would break the metal to shreds, saying, go Garou, I'll handle this. Garou would say, girls, handle Eri. Me and the pros will check out what happened outside. I want to come as well, sensei, with Garou saying, Izuku, stay here. I'm not risking my students' lives in danger. Suddenly, the doors open and the pros come in. Midnight. Villains, they've They've surrounded the place. As Xehther would say, a red-haired man with a mask has attacked. It seems David Shield's inventions live up to their expectations. I'm never taking this off. David, immediately coming out sensing the danger, would scream out, Wolfram! As he would say, hello, David. You monster. Why are you here? Well, of course, to kill All Might, Wolfram would answer. As from here, All Might would say, that will take a lot more villains than what you have here. As Wolfram would say, oh, I'm not alone. He's here as well, smiling evilly. As All Might would say, no, not him. Xehther wondering who he's talking about, and All Might would say, all for one. I need to go take care of him now or else he'll... As from here, Xehther would say, we can worry about that later. First, we need to take care of Wolfram. Oh, and quick thing, I just want to clear this up. I'm pretty sure that this author never had the Camino Ward incident happen, or even the Forest Training Camp thing happen, seeing as the League of Villains is free, All for One still hasn't had the battle with All Might, and All Might can still transform. So I'm just going to be under that assumption for the remainder of the story. And I'm pretty sure that many of you guys could have easily pieced the picture together. But, you know, I just wanted to explain that in case any of you guys were like completely caught off guard. Because when I heard the League of Villains and All for One and all that, I was like, what? But, you know, I digress. Anyways, though, continuing the story, we will have All for One being in the mind of All Might, as Xehther would say that we can worry about that later. First, they need to take care of Wolfram. He's already trashed the city badly, with Gran Torino saying, boy, you take care of him. I'll distract All for One. With All Might saying, Sensei, no! And Garou would say, go take care of Wolfram, All Might. I'll take care of him. With All Might saying, but Garou. But from here, Garou would already be gone, running towards the city, with All Might saying, damn it, young Midoriya, you ready? And Izuku would say, yes, All Might. Garou running as fast as he could to the city till he met the horrifying sight as he would see All for One holding both Melissa and Eri in his arms. All for One from here would say, hello, Garou, with Garou saying, put them down, and All for One saying, oh, not so easily. After all the trouble you've caused, I figured I would show you some pain. With him throwing Eri at a huge dog which would be staring her down, Garou would say, overgrown rover. And from here, All for One would say, yes, I got a bit of help from the so-called Monster Association, whom also opened the same portal with the help of Psychos, and came her now. What will you do to save your daughter? Or will you save your lover? Melissa would say, Garou, forget me, save Eri. As from here, Garou would be stuck in a moment of just complete unknowing what to do, with Garou saying, Garou being stuck at crossroads, as now he had to choose either Eri or the woman that he's already fallen in love with. Can't choose, can you? Psychos from here would come out and say, what a shame. All for One, how about you show him? Rover, get away from the child and go to that Melissa girl, please. As from here, Rover would walk towards Melissa, and All for One would say, if I throw her, Rover will kill her. And now, Royal Ripper, come out, you have a new victim. Ripper from here would look as he would notice the child. How kind. I'll enjoy wiping that smile off of her face and turning it to complete horror. Ripper would place his sword on Eri's mouth, threatening to slit her mouth, as Psychos would say, poor Garou can't even protect her like how he was unable to protect his mother, laughing in an ominous tone, as Garou would say, you think this is what's gonna take to scare me? I'll show you why I'm the strongest there is. Garou turning into his God Slayer form with threatening glare towards Psychos and All for One. As from here, Garou would say, let the hunt begin. Psycho screaming, kill them! As Garou would blitz at Royal Ripper, decapitating his head and speeding over to overgrown Rover, grabbing him and throwing him a mile away. Him getting up and rushing to Garou, only to meet God Slayer ascending attack that slices Rover in half and kills him. Psychos tries to lift Garou, but his immense psychic resistance nullifies that, and he brutally punches Psycho's face again and again until she begs for mercy, before he snaps her neck and turns to All For One. All For One tries running away, but to no avail, and as Garou grabs and continuously breaks in his arms and legs over and over before healing them by using his fists and making his arms and legs workable, before proceeding to smash them again, with All For One asking for mercy, begging for mercy, telling him that he'll give him anything, being terrified and literally being like on the verge of tears, obviously not being able to cry because he has no eyes, but still. Garou would be like, weakling, as he would snap his neck, and a dead All For One would be in the sights of Melissa and Eri, who would both be completely overwhelmed with tears, crying tears of absolute joy, with Garou saying that it's okay, as he would revert back towards his normal humanoid form, and from here, he would say that they should give their bodies to the monsters, with Melissa asking, Garou? And Garou saying, yeah. Melissa would say, I've been wanting to tell you something. I love you. As Garou would be completely shocked, and she would say that the day he saved her, she was so happy. And then after her hangout, her heart throbbed. It was crazy. As she would start mumbling, but Garou would just kiss her. Melissa would be shocked, but ultimately would kiss back. And Garou would say that he's loved her as well. That he's not great at confessions, but he always did think that she was kinda hot. As from here, Melissa would start crying and saying that she feels the same about him, with Eri asking, is she my new mama? And Garou would chuckle as he would say, yes, Snowflake. Now, everything was over, and Garou had finally had the time, finally getting the happiness that he deserved after all these years. And that would end the series. Let me know in the comments how you guys would have changed the story, what you guys liked, and if you guys want me to do another thing like this where we have a new character intersected into the world of MHA. Also, let me know if you guys want to see more fanfics or if you guys didn't enjoy it and I should just go back to scripting my own stuff. But with all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, it has been your boy Xehther. I love each and every single one of you guys. Hit that subscribe button, seeing as I'm trying my hardest to get to 100K by the end of the year. And with that all out of the way, peace.